And that jingle means we are right back. We want to conclude this conversation. Harriet, I'll let you pick it up from where you left off before we went on break.
Yes.
We were talking about what you'd like to see in that food relief bag, not just maize and beans.
Yes, not just maize and beans, because those are just the macronutrients. We want to see an attention to hidden hunger. Someone alluded to it in the SMSs, that we have a lot of, once we are seeing the malnourished person, we have a lot of vitamin and minerals deficiencies. And the vitamins and minerals are very vital in the consumption and the body utilizing the maize and beans that we are giving. And that's where the specialists come in. We would give supplements to go with what we have right now, because to correct the deficiencies, and look at having all the food groups being given to these people. When we talked earlier on how to avoid and in planning, as a nutritionist and as the nutritionist of this country, whom I represent, then we would want to have more nutritionists on the ground. We are able to foretell, as we do household, door-to-door nutritional screening, especially for your county, the ones that are already affected. Then we're able to group them, who are severely malnourished, who are moderately malnourished. When the rains come, most of the time then we forget we had a drought. We already have somebody who is already malnourished. And we need to help them go back to their correct nutritional status, so that if we have this scenario repeat itself, because it's been a pattern, then we find them at a nutritionally correct place, and we will not be working on somebody who is now having chronic malnutrition on a long time. We've seen ladies who are pregnant, you know.
There's a lady who was 3 months.
Yes, she's pregnant, she's malnourished. The child is depending on her. So you can tell already this child will be born with what we call intrauterine malnutrition. The deficiencies are already there because the stores were not there to replenish, and she grows up well. Then this is the child who at 1 year or 2 years, again, we will not have rains, they will not have something to eat. So the cycle keeps continuing. So after this, what do? We need to do the household surveys, we need to do the predictions, and not just in the 14, 13 counties, everywhere. I come from Darakanidi. It is a bit dry because the rains have not come. So we need to have something going on so that we identify who needs the attention and how to prioritize this, the people as they recover from that stage.
Dr. Richard, perhaps from you, what I would like to get as your final remarks is what a thriving agriculture sector does to our country's GDP. And the reason why I ask this is I'm taking a look at the 10 most secure countries in Africa when it comes to food security. We have Tunisia all the way at the top. We have Mauritius following, Morocco, Algeria at this, Algeria comes in at number 4, Egypt, a country that is considered a desert, Gabon, South Africa, Ghana, Senegal, and lastly, Namibia. Majority of this, on this source, which was by the consultancy Africa Analysis data, most of these countries are countries that are desert-like, but they're able to secure food security. So with that status right there, talk to us about how agriculture, thriving agriculture, impacts a country's GDP.
Yeah, thank you very much. If you look at the situation in which we are in now, we're already living with climate change. And the agricultural sector in the African continent will be impacted most. It is employing 65% of the entire workforce. And it's contributing over 32%. That's continental. When you dovetail down to Kenya here, it is contributing over 20% to the GDP and employing almost about 75% of the entire working population. That then means you have then to put agriculture, the agricultural sector as the engine of development, because you cannot look at 75% of the workforce employed in agriculture, over 20% contributing to the GDP, and also the agricultural sector is the sector that can actually rejuvenate other sectors, manufacturing, logistics, even the financial sector. So unless we put agriculture as the engine of development, we might not be able to drive transformational change. But there are 4 things that need to be done. The first thing is, and I think Henriette alluded to this, it's not just producing food, it's the quality of food. And you cannot produce food without taking quality and at the same time destroying the very ecosystems, the services. For example, pollination contribute 75% to the food that we depend on. But we are gradually destroying those ecosystems, and at the same time jeopardizing the very pollination that is contributing to the nutritious food that we eat.
Right. So we're saying quality of food?
Quality of food is quite very, very important, but that is anchored within the very ecosystems, and so those ecosystems need to be protected and managed effectively. For example, just in Makweni, utilizing conservation agricultural techniques have resulted in 300% of increase in agricultural production. And this was as a result of using what is called conservation agriculture, which is less tillage, which is not destroying the soil and disrupting the entire aquifers as well as the soil chemical processes. The second is, you cannot be able to drive agricultural production without taking into consideration water. So water harvesting needs to become a national culture. If there are the laws are there, integrating water harvesting into every building code should become mandatory, and this should be enforced, because the problem of the African continent is that the policies are there, but some people even jokingly say Africa is a cemetery for policies, but the problem has been turning those policies into reality, and that needs to be done, and this has been done in Seychelles, and this is saving households up to $230. The third is, you can never ever drive agriculture, as I said this earlier on. Agriculture alone doesn't really make sense. Agriculture needs what is called enablers. Enablers like information communication technology, enablers like clean energy, enablers like transport, like trade. What you are producing should not just be producing it, but it should also be produced in such a way that it can also be able to fetch markets. And we're talking about climate change, so we need to diversify also what we produce. We're talking cassava, which is an indigenous crop and is also a climate resilient crop that can produce up to about 300 products. What is this telling us? In Kenya, 1 in every 6 Kenyans is unemployed. So we're talking about youths here who don't have jobs, but they're tech savvy, and they can be able to utilize their ICT skills to be able to develop applications that can link people from one place, linking inputs, whether it is organic fertilizers or whether it is solar dryers. And this has actually happened in Kenya here. There is an application called Bago Pamoja that youth have come up and developed, and it can actually help decentralize and connect a farmer even in Baringo to be able to access a solar dryer.
And so, really briefly. You're getting to the fourth one very briefly.
Yes, and the fourth one is the policy harmonization. Yes. If you take, for example, Kenya is not just a pioneer in coming out with M-Pesa, which is a combination of the financial sector and also the ICT, and this is called fintech. That is the biggest opportunity that has happened to the African continent, not just to Kenya. But what needs to be done is how do you decentralize this ICT that can get down to rural areas and leverage on this, working with infrastructure and transport, so that you can actually do what Rwanda is doing, utilizing drones to be able to deliver services to areas that cannot even be reached by people. So overarchingly, climate change is a national security issue, and more so, food security is a national security, and the prominence that is given to national security should be given to the same.
All right. Kibrito, very, very briefly, final remarks.
Thank
How
you.
would we get out of this situation? Very final remarks, very briefly.
Yes, I wanted to amplify the importance of agriculture.
Apart
from what you have said, there is what we call import substitution. And we lose a lot of that because we import a lot of grains and other foodstuffs because we do not spur the economic growth in our own country. The other thing is that, as Ariat said, these diseases, these challenges that arise out of malnutrition, it deprives the strategic human capital of a country of the basic human resource that is required to spur growth. Some of these children that have malnutrition from birth means that they will be underperforming throughout their life. Finally, is the issue of water use. We need to improve our water use, because clean water means you reduce incidence of diseases. In some counties, 70% of hospital visitation is because of waterborne diseases. Therefore, clean water means less patients in hospital, and you release them to work in the farms.
All right. Governor, I know you're heading to the ground right now. Where are you heading to, and are you going to get them enough relief food? Do you have enough to supply?
I don't have enough. I'm still appealing for more. We have a team in place composed of the Office of the President, that's a commissioner. We have also from our emergency team, which is led by the Deputy Governor. We have also from partners, which is led by NDMA, and they are on the ground. We have also mapped our region, and we have seen in Mogotio, we have Kisanana Ward, Eminem Ward, which is affected by hunger. The entire Baringo South, except maybe the upper part, which is towards Nauru, that's Pochangoi. But in Baringo North, we have Simon Soi, Partabua, and part of Barwesa Ward, and the entire Tiati. What we are doing now is we have water boosters in place, 5 from the county, and we have been given 3 by the national government. So we have 8 water boosters, which are actually transporting water to hotspots, and also to institutions, that is schools, because they were threatening to close because of the hunger. At the same time, we are also still appealing for more foodstuff. We want to appreciate Raho and his team in Nairobi, who have actually indicated to assist us. There's a whole consignment of foodstuff, also from Nakuru and our friends in Wasingishu.
Right.
So they actually
you still need more as we speak.
We still need more.
Yeah.
We are reaching out to those far ends, but at the same time, we want to appreciate that the security situation in the ground is good. So it's allowing us now to reach to those areas that are far-reach areas like Nasrod and Akuchatis.
How do you get these supplies even if somebody wants to donate? How do you get them?
We have a team in place in the county. They can also reach me through my number. We have a team, and we have set up a team to actually coordinate the same.
Okay, and that right there brings us to a close of this conversation. If time would have allowed, would have taken it further, but that was Governor Stanley Kiptis. He is the Baringo governor. We also had Harriet Njiru, a clinical nutritionist, but also the Secretary General to Nutrition Association of Kenya. We also had Kipruto Arab Kira, who is the ANC Deputy Party Leader, as well as the former Agriculture Minister, Dr. Richard Munang, the Africa Regional Climate Change Program Coordinator for UNEP, the United Nations Environment Program. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Governor, we want to specifically thank you because you answered to Daybreak Team and you said you wanted to come and also get the answers to your voters on the ground. So we thank you for not shying away.
Despite the heat.
Despite the heat.
You're heading out there to distribute.
Thank you for the support.
Yes.
Welcome to the ground.